Republican Congressman Chris Collins from the state of New York has been arrested. Do you hear what I said? Arrested by the FBI on charges of securities fraud related to insider trading. Collins surrendered to federal authorities this morning and is expected to be in court later today. Chris Collins was the first member of Congress to endorse and acted as the congressional liaison to the Trump presidential transition team back in 2017. We've got a lot more to cover on this. I want to go to Matt Miller first. Matt, obviously, this story is just breaking now. But stunning. This isn't just being questioned. I mean, been arrested. That's a very big deal.
It's a very big deal. You very rarely see this where the FBI is able to move in on a member of Congress and arrest them. You know, oftentimes you'll see them indicted, but to be arrested leads you to believe that there was some reason that they were worried he might destroy evidence or something, and they had to arrest him rather than indict him and let him turn himself in. To connect a couple of the stories we've been talking about here, the Manafort trial and the congressional election last night, one of the opportunities I think Democrats really have is to run on this culture of corruption in Washington in the Republican Party, where you have an administration that's stocked with people from the president on down, through his cabinet, people like Wilbur Ross and Ryan Zinke, and Republican members of the House who are just unaccountable or acting like they're unaccountable to anything. You have a president that interferes with law enforcement, and November really is the chance for people who don't like what's happening in Washington to serve as a check on that kind of unbridled corruption.
But let's just walk through this. One of the things that President Trump ran and won on, and when we watch his rallies now, we continue to hear the chant, "Drain the swamp." This is the swampiest of the swamp. If we're talking insider trading, this is a member of the government who was able to use his position to influence regulation on a company that he was able to trade the stock of. What, Caitlin?
Fundamentally swampy, right? And because, Chris Collins, we've all talked to him many times. He was an early supporter of the president, very supportive of him throughout. Trump, of course, as he does with most people who support him, who are then caught up in legal messes, tries to act like they are, coffee boys or people who are insignificant. To Matt's point about the culture of corruption, in 2006, Democrats did run on their own kind of anti-swamp, drain the swamp campaign. They're bringing that back in some campaigns. And I think Matt is right to point out that the aggregation of all of this gives Democrats something to run against that's not just Trump-focused, but focused on kind of the whole Washington establishment.
Drain the swamp. Let's remember, the indictment relates to securities of Innate Immunotherapeutics, an Australian biotech company in which the board of directors Chris Collins sat on. Your quick take.
I will tell you two things. One is that a lot will depend on how Donald Trump reacts, if he takes it personally and lashes out, or if he lets it go. And I remember talking to Chris Collins before one of the debates, and he was a very, very staunch defender of Donald Trump not releasing his taxes, because he said, as a fellow businessman, as a successful businessman, if that information gets out there, it could cause his competitors to have an unfair advantage. So Chris Collins is on the record as saying no one should be looking at famous elected officials' personal finances.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.